Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our core data tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can sort the results of a fetch request using NS_sort descriptor. Now, what is NS_sort descriptor? Well, NS_sort descriptor is a way for us to describe how we want to sort something. In this case, the results of a fetch request. So, how then do we use this NS_sort descriptor? Well, a fetch request has a sort descriptors property. And now this property is an array of NS_sort descriptor objects. It is empty by default. There's no sort descriptors to be had. That's why everything is so discombobulated as it stands right now. However, we can change that. So what I want you to do is I want you to go into Xcode, and we're going to start off in our SwiftUI project. Or rather, we're going to start off in our UIKit project. And inside of this UIKit project, inside of our data controller, we're going to go into our get all to-do lists. And what we're going to do, what we're going to do is simply, after we define our request, we are going to say request dot sort descriptors, and this is going to be equal to an array, and inside of this array we are going to create an NS_sort descriptor object. You can have multiple if you need them. That's why it's an array, but for now we're going to only have one. All right, so here we'll say NS_sort descriptor. There are many versions of the initializer for NS_sort descriptor, but the one you're going to be using most often, and the one that is perhaps most convenient, is the one that takes in a key path, where the parameter is called key path, and then it also takes in a Boolean for whether or not it's going to be in ascending order. So we'll say key path. And so for this parameter here, we're going to say backslash to-do list dot title, comma, ascending, and we'll say true. So we want the order of our to-do lists to be in ascending order. All right. Go ahead and save that, and we'll run our code now. We have a successful build. Here we are inside of our application. Our data is still here, but you can see that it is slightly different. We can see to-do list 1, to-do list 2, to-do list 3, to-do list 4, and to-do list 5. However, you can also see here that there is one problem with their to-do items, and that is they are not in order. They are they are as well discombobulated, like the to-do lists previously were. Now, as it stands right now, with how we're doing things, the NS sort descriptor only applies to the to-do lists. So what can we do to order the to-do items in each list? Well, what you could do is you could go out and say, okay, well, what we want to do here is maybe you want to get maybe you want to get a specific array of the to-do items in each list and then return the sorted version of that, right, from a from a method or something. And that would work, and that could work depending on how exactly you choose to organize your code. I will leave it up to you as sort of a challenge to figure out how exactly you can sort those to-do items. All right. So that is how we can define a sort order, how we can sort items in our core data fetch requests. Now, you don't have to do just strings. You could also sort it by booleans, right? Or by integers or doubles or however you want to sort your stuff, you can do that. I urge you to experiment a little bit. Now, let's go ahead and go over to our SwiftUI application. No, we don't want that one. We want... There we go. We want our SwiftUI project here. And let's take a look at what we have from last time. So here's our SwiftUI application. You can see we have projects and their task items. Nothing too complicated thus far. However, the only problem here being, again, the projects are discombobulated, as well as the task items. The challenge remains the same for our SwiftUI project. I want you to go out and figure out, okay, how can I filter, or rather sort, through these items, these tasks inside of my projects, and sort them in an order that I want them to be sorted in. But there are two ways that you can define your sort descriptors for your fetch request in SwiftUI. You can do it the exact same way that we took a look at previously in our data controller for our UIKit project, where you can define that same sort descriptors array on your NS fetch request in your data controller. Or you can pass them directly to the fetch request property wrapper. All right, so let's go back into Xcode, and we'll find our fetch request property wrapper here. Let's see. Okay, we don't want our section header here. We want content view. Okay, so up here, we don't want our data controller either. Not issue navigator. We'll say, there we go, content view. We'll go to the top here. Now here, remember how previously we passed in an empty array for our sort descriptors? Well, now we're not going to leave that empty. We're going to put this on its own line. We'll put animation on its own line. and then we'll close that on its own line there. All right. Boom. And there we go. Okay. Sort descriptors. All right. Now, inside of this array of sort descriptors, we are going to say ns sort descriptor. We're going to use the same initializer, key path. And then for our key path, we're going to give it \project dot name. Then we're going to give it the ascending Boolean of, we'll say false this time. All right. And there we go. Now we have a sort descriptor for our fetch request in SwiftUI. We do have a warning, it appears. I want to double check what that might be. Okay, that's fine then. So now that we have our sort descriptor defined, let's run our code. We have a successful build, and here is our application. In our table, we can see some kind of project heading right there. That was the original project that we had, and we will cover deleting objects, so we'll be able to delete this project later. But for now, this is how we sort our data. We're using descending order instead of ascending like we did in our UIKit project. The second project we see is project 5. We see project 4. We see project 3. Project 2. And then project 1. Precisely how we expected it to happen. But if we change ascending back to true instead of false, so we'll say true instead of false. There we go. In our table here, we can see project 1, and then project 2, project 3, so on and so on. All right, so that is pretty much how we can add a sort descriptor to our fetch requests in both UIKit and SwiftUI to sort our data from a fetch request. Now, I do also briefly want to mention before I go that the code we wrote in UIKit works in AppKit as well. There's no difference. So you can do the same stuff in AppKit as well. So thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.